Hey guys, welcome to another video. I suppose the car you see here is a bit of a Marmite car really, in terms of you either love it or you hate it. And I think that could be said for pretty much most all-electric cars. For myself, I can fully appreciate how good this car is on a technological viewpoint and various other things. However, I could never ever own one, at least not for the foreseeable future. And one of the biggest reasons why is that I need these things in my life. As a petrol head, sound is all part of the experience, and obviously with all electric cars you don't get any of that whatsoever. But I'll go into that in a little bit more detail in the video. If you look at reviews all over the internet, on YouTube, the overall viewpoint is that this is a pretty good car, especially for a company that's existed for a little over 10 years. This isn't their first attempt at a car. They did have one in the past, kind of flopped. When you take that into consideration, it's a good attempt. So what I'm going to try and do in this video is kind of just go through each of the different aspects and see if I agree with them and if I've found them to be true or not. I have driven this car a fair amount, both short journeys and pretty long journeys as well. And there is a lot to go through. So I hope you find this video useful. Since I'm standing outside right now, we might as well go through the exterior and its styling. I mean, what do you guys think? In my opinion, I actually think the styling's quite good for such a big saloon. I'm not too keen on the back of this thing. I think it looks too much like, I don't know what it looks like, but it just doesn't look like it's... This is the 2017 facelift model, so the front has been redesigned a little bit. I think that's an improvement. The biggest difference is the grille. So on previous models it used to be a fair amount bigger, and it was like a black oval, I suppose. So I think now it's just a bit of a cleaner finish. This car doesn't have the optional 21-inch turbine wheels, which I think look much better than these, but you do sacrifice a bit of ride quality with the bigger wheels. It does have a very large wheelbase. I've got my CLA 45 parked here, and you can actually just see the difference, especially with the wheelbase. Because you don't have an engine in the front or back of this car, it's just electric motors. You do have luggage space both in the front and in the rear, which I will show you. So, if you excuse that. When you combine the boot space and the front, you get more actual storage than probably every estate out there. Yeah, if we open the front up, and it's nowhere near as big as the rear boot, but if you ever did need the extra space, you've got it. This is where, when you dig a bit deeper, some reviews do kind of tear apart the interior. You know, the design and placement of pretty much everything is all fine. I mean, personally, I haven't got an issue with it. A lot of reviews do say that, you know, the quality of the materials and the general build quality of the car isn't that good, and unfortunately that is true. Over the past several months, we have had issues with various rattles all over the dashboard, the door panels, both this side and that side. And I don't think we've been unlucky with this car in particular. Quite a few people have picked up on that, and you know, because this is an electric car, there's no noise, you kind of notice it even more. It's a lot more pronounced. I suppose the biggest party piece for the Tesla Model S and actually the Model X is this giant screen that you get. It's literally like a massive iPad Pro, and you control pretty much everything from this screen. It is a full touch screen. Switch between views. You can have multiple displays on the dash, and you can switch between which one goes on the top, bottom, etc. Car controls down here, and there are any number of things that you can control from there. One of the biggest worries for people wanting to buy an electric car is range anxiety, basically. There are a number of different ways to charge a Tesla at different rates, and if you are interested in how the whole charging thing works, if you check out this video here, my dad basically talks through everything you could want to know about charging the Tesla Model S. I mean, one of the biggest niggles for people that absolutely despise all electric cars is that, you know, when you fill up your petrol car, there are petrol stations all over the place and it takes a few minutes. However, all it requires is a bit of pre-planning, and you know, you never have to worry about running out of electricity mid-journey or anything like that. It's never happened to us, never really come close to it either. There's a massive supercharger network all around the UK, Europe, America as well. How does this car drive? Well, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's the best handling car I've ever driven, because it really isn't. But when you factor in that it is a really big car, it weighs well over 2 tons because of all those batteries down below, it does handle better than you thought it might. The one good thing with all those heavy batteries being down in the centre and very low, it gives the car a better centre of gravity, so it doesn't lean as much through the corners. But you know, in terms of steering feel, it is a bit numb, but it's not bad. Blasting through country roads isn't going to be the most enjoyable thing in this car, just, you know, because of its size and everything and weight. It would handle better than, you know, the S-Class and A8. But I think the BMW steering, BMW just have a knack with their steering. It is, there is a lot more feel through the steering wheel of a BMW 7 Series than the Tesla. But like I said, you're not really going to be throwing it around bends. What you might do, however, is floor it off the lights. And that's probably where all the hype with Teslas come from. If you do opt for the P100D, you can pretty much outrun any supercar on the road to 60 miles an hour. You know, you'd have to literally enter hypercar territory to beat it from a standing start up to 60 miles an hour. Because of that instant torque you get from an electric motor, the moment you put your foot down just a tad, the car flies forward, because, you know, all the power and everything, it's immediately available. There's no transmission, so the car isn't fumbling around with gears or anything. You know, from 30 miles an hour up to say 50 miles an hour or 60 miles an hour, I'm pretty confident that this would probably get there before my CLA 45 over there. And that's just because, you know, the moment I put my foot down in that car, and any other petrol car really, there's time wasted fumbling around with the engine trying to find the right gear to be in to get away as quick as possible. Should you buy a Tesla Model S then? There's no doubt about it, these cars are expensive. This is the 75D, as I mentioned. The list price for this particular one is near enough £90,000, and if you went for the top of the range model, the P100D, and put all the options on, you'd be looking at close to £150,000. So You know, price is a big thing to factor in. However, where these cars do make financial sense is if you treat them as like business cars, company cars, that type of thing, because whether this holds true for the rest of Europe or the USA, I'm not too sure, but you do get quite hefty tax breaks, and in the case of this one, grants as well. The most expensive bit of buying a car like this is the upfront cost. Once you get that out of the way, the running costs, maintenance costs, they're all so much lower than you'd expect. But then on the other hand, if you are a true petrol head like myself, I just can't get over the fact that there's no engine. I mean, this could be the greatest car in the world. It could be quicker than any hypercar on the road. I still can't see myself owning just an electric car anytime in the near future, because again, the sound and noise just takes away from the experience of driving. And if you are that type of person, you'll miss a normal car. So unless you can afford to have a Model S and another car, like a weekend car, I'd probably tell you to give this car a miss. Once again guys, I hope this video provided some insight into the Tesla Model S, because you know, they are weird and wonderful cars. There are a lot of questions around them. Comment down below if you've got any questions of your own, and make sure to hit the subscribe button for future videos. Thanks for watching guys.